what the Tax Justice Alliance is all about. Tax Justice Alliance Uganda is a loose coalition of civil society organizations, advocacy groups, stakeholders, and other individuals who are committed to the quest for tax justice in Uganda. We advocate for a fair and accountable tax system in Uganda. And Seatin, Uganda is the secretariat for the Tax Justice Alliance Uganda. Every year, we analyze the tax bills and come up with civil society organizations' alternative proposals that inform people-centered policy alternatives, but also address the various issues within our economy. And just last week but one, we held our retreat, annual Tax Justice Alliance Uganda retreat, where we had over 55 members of the Tax Justice Alliance Uganda represent the broader citizens' constituencies. We represent constituencies of citizens, ordinary citizens, but also micro, small, and medium enterprises, producers, farmers, farmer-led groups, women, youth groups. So it's really a broad coalition. It's actually the biggest coalition on tax justice in Uganda. Thank you, and I would like to invite my colleague who is going to be taking us through the first part of the presentation to delve into the same, Mr. Aloysius Chitengo, and then we'll proceed with Mr. Talibita and my colleague Hilda Tumuhe. Thank you.
Electricity coverage, because you clearly see over 40% of Ugandans still don't access electricity. Yeah, why? Yet we are paying dimmed energy the other side, right? Because of the capacity charge. So for us, our stand is, how do we invest more in the infrastructure to evacuate power from the dams to the household? Because even if we tickle Bujagali that we are not going to pay the dimmed energy, we are not paying for the dimmed energy, we are not still solving the access to electricity. So as members of parliament, what we require from you is to make sure that we invest more in the transmission part as well. Now we've generated...
Madam, that is known, but you see when all this energy mix combined with the one we have in the country, we don't consume all.
True.
Now, some of them have agreements which are structured based on capacity
charge. Yes.
So we are trying to discourage that. So once you invest, build government for energy consuming, not capacity.
Yeah, actually, this is where we have a problem. And I think someone mentioned something that some people should be held liable for some of these mistakes. You see, when we look at like this issue of Bujagali, it is from the onset that the agreement disadvantaged us. But there are clauses there that provided for reviews of these agreements yearly. So they should have been reviewed, maybe to look at, to change payments to what Honorable Mudimi was saying, that no, not from the capacity, but from, because even when we ask them, how do you know actually these guys are producing 250 megawatts? There's nothing. They don't have the capacity even to know. So it was just wrong from the beginning, but there was a provision to review these things. So that's one way we can really bring up that, starting from a certain point.
No, Mr. Chairman, recently, Electromax from Tororo, they went to beef up, yes. But because of the capacity charge, they went to generate 50 megawatts. But they were producing less than 10.
Yeah, that's
but they were billing government for 50.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that we don't have, there must also be a provision for an independent party to actually evaluate, or even the regulator themselves, to evaluate that these things is. Yes, Honorable.
Chair, thank you very much.
Persons Act, in this case of an individual. B, a registration number issued by the Uganda Registration Service Bureau in case of a person who is a non-individual. And C, a tax identification number issued by a foreign tax authority with whom Uganda has a tax treaty or agreement for the exchange of information. Our observation: the overall rationale of this is to increase the tax register and, in return, tax collection as well as tax compliance. and it is anticipated that the use of the NIN will expand the tax register and could bring about an increase in revenue collection. However, not everyone with a NIN is eligible to pay tax. We observe that if passed into law, it means that the current tax identification number will be scrapped and replaced with the NIN. C, if passed into law, it lessens the burden of taxpayer from running from place to place while registering a business. Our concern: the government of Uganda should be cognizant of the challenges like late issuance of national identification number by NIRA. B, the government should be cognizant of the infrastructure challenges, especially the ability of Uganda Revenue Authority systems to handle this large volume of data. C, what happens to the people or potential taxpayers who are from jurisdiction where Uganda has no double taxation treaties or agreements? The fact that currently Uganda has 9 double taxation treaties, or the DTAs, with Denmark, India, Italy, Mauritius, Netherlands, Norway, South Africa, United Kingdom, and Zambia. Our recommendation: upgrading Uganda data. The government of Uganda should upgrade Uganda's data system to handle large data volumes. B, enhance NIN issuance to ensure effectiveness in service delivery. Therefore, the fact that the Act shall come into force on 1st July 2025, except for Section 2, which shall come into force on a date appointed by the Minister by statutory instrument, more time is required for scrutiny and transition. Another issue, which is under amendment of Section 2, subsection 4 of the Tax Procedure Code, talks about 2, a local government, a local authority, government institution, or regulatory body shall not issue a license or any form of authorization necessary for the purpose
don't you think it's procedurally right that we already have the document we are going to read, because this is more of an advisory note? We can